what do we mean by the term school to prison pipeline? Well, the school to prison pipeline refers to the heightened risk of juvenile justice and criminal justice involvement among students who have been suspended and or who drop out of school. Nationally, the criminalization of minor school-based infractions and overrepresentation of youth of color and students with disabilities are key features of the school to prison pipeline. And similar to the achievement gap, the costs of the school to prison pipeline are high for individuals and society at large. The purpose of this OLO report is to improve the County Council's understanding of the school to prison pipeline and its dimensions in Montgomery County. Towards that end, our report describes background information on the factors that contribute to the school to prison pipeline, local data on school discipline, arrest, and juvenile justice outcomes, information on the interrelated work of agencies that impact youth at high risk of entering the prison pipeline. Our report also compares local practices to best practices for stemming the prison pipeline and shares stakeholders' perspectives on what currently works well for stemming the school to prison pipeline in the county, as well as opportunities for improvement.
What we need to do is talk more comprehensively about what are those initiatives, interventions, resources that are needed to ensure that these children, these students who are in elementary school, are actually receiving every single type of support that will close that opportunity gap for them. So before, after school activities, summer programs, whatever it is, in my opinion, that's what we need to also focus on. So we shouldn't just talk about those interventions or programs when we're talking about collaboration or before and after school. We should talk about it through the lens of the school to prison pipeline as well. So I just wanted to say that, because when I'm looking at all these particular interventions and best practices, I'm looking at it from those very different dimensions. And I do believe that if we were much more focused, we could, I think, get a lot more support, perhaps, for the funding that is necessary, right? For all of those types of interventions and that are high quality and scalable. We have to give it a face. And I think this gives it a little bit of a face, right? And as that black child, that something occurred, obviously, as it was going through elementary school, reached middle school, became disengaged or was already there, gets to high school, something happens. I mean, there is a face here. And I do agree with issues of, behavioral support and mental health, but I have a little problem thinking that, for some reason, African-American boys tend to have this disproportional problem with, mental health issues, et cetera. So even though it's a component, I see it more as a consequence, not just as a root cause. So I'm wondering, here, the recommendations from the stakeholder group in the report I thought was very interesting. The first one is deliver more services to address root causes. So I applaud MCPS for what you're doing, especially the restorative justice project. I'm really interested in that. Very exciting to hear somebody say something like paradigm shift. I think that's awesome. La Cultura Cura, I would love to learn more about that as well. The equity initiatives, all of that. I applaud you for going there, but I really want us to focus on that. And the stakeholders said it best, the community members, delivering the service to address root causes. We've got to make sure, and it's up to MCPS, you guys are the experts, to be able to frame and to be able to present to us in general and the community in general that when we are asking for more parent community coordinators, people, personnel workers, counselors, before and after school activities, that is framed from that perspective as well. And that the elementary school piece is so critical. It breaks my heart to think that there are so many black boys out there who are simply just kind of falling through the cracks, and now we have to talk about, juvenile system and all of that. I mean, I remember having this one meeting like 6 years ago with some principals from the East County, and one of them broke down telling me that third grade black boys who used to get in trouble all the time were not getting in trouble anymore because they were depressed. Okay, before they were getting in trouble, being completely active, and now all of a sudden they were just walking in the hallways depressed because of all the issues that are out there. And it has to do with, safety in their neighborhoods. It has to be with, access to health care, income inequality. I mean, it's not just the school system, right? It's everybody else. But I think that for me, when we just narrowly focus on it this way, we lose sight of what, in my opinion, needs to be our shared responsibility, because we're never going to get to zero just with, getting at middle school and high school. It's never going to happen. I think that we can do it here in Montgomery County, and especially, given that it's gone down, the percentage has gone down. I think that's awesome. I think we can do this thing, but I really want to make sure that we are talking about it in a much more comprehensive fashion.